So in pre-calculus or algebra, you learned about all the ways that you could use algebra and combine two functions to make a new function. And we've got a theorem here that tells us if we have two functions, f of x and g of x, that are continuous at a value a, that's an x value, then we can do the following algebra and the new function will also be continuous at a. So we can do f plus g of x, and that will be continuous at a, so we can take the sum of two continuous functions and it will still be continuous at that value. We can do f minus g of x, so we can take the difference. We can do a constant, a number, just like 5 or 7 or whatever, times our function. So this is called a constant multiple, and it will still be continuous at a. We can actually take two functions and multiply them together, so f times g of x. So this is their product. F divided by g of x. So their quotient. Now we have to be careful with quotients because remember we can't divide by zeros. This is as long as g of a, value we're talking about where it's continuous, is not equal to 0. Because then it wouldn't be defined there. We can take power, so f to the n power, and we can take roots, so the nth root of x. Okay, so let's give an example here. We'll do it in red. So let's say our f of x was sine of x, and our g of x was e to the x. Okay, and let's just say our a is equal to 0. Okay, so sine of 0 is equal to 0, it's continuous there. E to the 0 is equal to 1, it's continuous there. So what we're saying is if we have this new function, sine of x plus e to the x, that function would have to be continuous at 0. If we had sine of x minus e to the x, it would be continuous. If we took any number times either sine or e to the x, so we could take something like, 5 sine of x, and that would still be continuous at 0. Sine of x times e to the x would still be continuous. Sine of x divided by e to the x. We could take power, so for example, sine squared of x would still be continuous at 0. And then we could take roots, so for example, we could take the cube root of e to the x, and that would still be continuous. So what you should kind of get from this is, in the video before we talked about all the functions that you've learned about before being continuous on their domains, and this is saying you can create even more continuous functions by combining those functions.